Yeah, guys, look at the bottle. This isn't a news flash, huh? This is not, oh, look at this amazing wine that you've never heard of on the table in front of you. Nope, this is not that. This is a reaffirmation because you're good enough and smart enough and doggone it, you need to drink Turley. And I wish I could, part of me wishes I could say bad things about Turley because Turley sells a lot of their wines direct to consumer. There's so many different single vineyard offerings that we don't see, so many wines that we don't have access to. And part of me as an independent retailer, I should be really angry and stomp my feet and be like all bitter. But on the other side of the coin, you can't knock brilliance. And Turley has been brilliant since the start, which I'm going to get all old on you guys. We sold the first vintages of Turley, Wine Exchange. We were one of the Turley prototype stores, and we loved Turley from the start. 93 vintage, memory serves? 93, I think, is the first vintage that rolled into the store. And we were so blown away by, the Hain Petit Syrah, Hain Zinfandel, Rattlesnake Zin, Moore Earthquake Zin. All those wines were really, really compelling, and we knew they were onto something very special at the start. With Larry Turley and Helen Turley, and just this whole process of greatness, and they've remained great, and they've gone through a few different winemakers. You had the Aaron Jordan years, and you had and now they're with Tegan Passalacqua, who's one of the most talented winemakers and vine whisperers on the planet, and literally Turley in 30 years has not skipped a friggin' beat. These wines have been consistently amazing whenever we had the opportunity to try them. It's my wife's favorite wine, quite honestly. I bring a bottle of this home. My wife's like, "Ooh, Turley!" Like she gets all fired up, and she's not like a wine gal per se, but she loves drinking wine. But I bring this bottle home. She sees that, and she's like, "Special night tonight. What are we cooking?" Like she gets all fired up. We shouldn't say it that way because she's Swedish and she doesn't talk that way. But anyway, the wine today in front of us, the Turley Juvenile. Yeah, this isn't the Torbreck thing. This isn't Juvenile. We're in America. So this is the Juvenile Zinfandel from Turley, which carries a California appellation, but it's so much more than that. There's a great story behind this wine. So, Turley has access to all these incredible, incredible old vine vineyards, right? Turley, Carlisle, Bedrock, this whole group of producers that really have an eye towards these great heritage vineyards in California. And Tegan has a wonderful eye towards these vineyards and knows them inside and out. Well, here's the deal. In these old vineyards, guess what happens? Okay, second guess. Vines die because they're old and they die. Now, when a vine dies in the vineyard, now you have this hole in the ground. What do? You take the cutting from the vine next door to it, you stick it in the ground on the proper rootstock so you don't get phylloxera, and then you make a new vine from the same clonal material. Okay, great. So now you have a vineyard that has like 90% 100-year-old vines and 10% 10 or 15-year-old vines. What do? Well, you pick the young vines separately, and then you put that juice into a vat, and you ferment it, and then you make this. Now, when we're talking about old vineyards, we're talking about some of the greatest old vine vineyards in California, these historic vineyard registry vineyards. There are younger vines in these vineyards from selections. When you take 10 or 12 of those vineyards, and you combine the young vine juice from those great clonal selection cuttings from those historic sites, and you put it in one bottle, you get something really friggin' compelling. This wine knocks my socks off. Dude, $25 a bottle. This is, and people talk about Turley, Turley's expensive. Yeah, some of the wines are. They're $90, they're maybe $100 for the Petit Syrah, a lot of $50, $60 gear in their portfolio and their arsenal. But here's the point. You can drink Turley, legit Turley, beautiful Zinfandel, and you can drink it for a song. And in a vintage like 2023, one of the greatest Zinfandel vintages we've had in the past 20 years, this wine goes up another level. Not to mention the fact, okay, rewind. We're checking boxes here, bro. Checking boxes. This project started over a decade ago, I believe, if not longer. I don't know the exact day it started. But now those vines that were in this project, they're not so young anymore. Now they're getting mature. They're not old, but they're mature. So this wine naturally gains in stature year after year as these vines to continue to grow and mature and make more compelling wine all the time. Now, another box checked. Why is it a deal? Because, luckily for us, Turley makes like 1 million different effing Zinfandels. So when your Antonio Gallonis, your Jeb Dunnicks, and your Aaron Brooks, or whoever the hell shows up to the winery to taste, there's like 60 effing bottles in front of them, right? And if you're starting at 97 and working your way down through 60 effing wines, guess what score this is going to get? 90, 90, 90, 91, 90 every year. It's doomed. Like Domaine de la Romane Conti Echezeaux, this wine is doomed every year because of the wines in front of it. That's the reality. If this wine was on its own and a staple of other Zinfandels where they made 3 or 4 different wines, etc., this wine would be 3 points higher. But it's consistently doomed. It's locked into its lot, its place in life, even as the wine continues to get better and better every year because the vines get older and older. And even in a great vintage like 2023, this wine will always be 90 or 91. Except for the folks at Wine Spectator. What do? They taste blind. Hello, right? When Wine Spectator tastes blind, you put the blinders on, guess what? This wine's 92 points with a bullet. And 92 from Wine Spectator for a Zinfandel is a hell of a score, usually reserved for wines twice the price. But in this case, effing, have I even tried this wine yet? I don't think I even drank it. Well, I already know what it tastes like because I've drank this wine before with my beautiful wife, who loves it. It's her favorite wine. Have I mentioned that? 25 bucks for world-class Zinfandel from not-so-young vines from some of the greatest vineyards in California in your glass. What a treat to be able to have enough of this year in the abundant, beautiful, world-class, best-ever 2023 vintage to talk about a great, great Turley wine. So kudos to the gang at Turley. You know, I can be mad at you, but I ain't. You keep doing this stuff at this price, what can you be mad at? Bravo.